Hi everyone, I'm MC. Some of you may know me as Onward and Upward on Team Angry, and you may have seen me posting in the forums. I've created this toolkit to help you identify and adapt to trauma, any traumas that you may have had. And before you jump in there and start getting to work, I want you to know three things. Number one, we all have trauma. Sometimes trauma is defined, or sometimes we think of trauma as really limited to witnessing or being in catastrophic events, so being in a catastrophic car accident or something like that. I don't think that's true. I think that anything that we feel overwhelmed and isolated by constitutes a traumatic event in our lives. And I don't think that we make it to adulthood without being traumatized. I think life is traumatic. So we all have traumas. The second thing that I want you to know is that having had trauma and suffering from some of the symptoms related to trauma does not mean that you are weak. The trauma response is actually an adaptive evolutionary response that is designed to protect you and your body and your brain from overwhelming situations. So what I want you to do before you even get to work is to start to reframe the way that you think about trauma and the trauma response. Being traumatized and suffering from trauma doesn't mean you're weak. It's actually an indication of strength. And that's, I think, a really important place to start. The third thing that I want you to know is that adaptation to trauma is possible. Trauma doesn't go away. There's no magic pill that you can take to erase it. There's nothing that you can do, no exercise that you can perform to make it true that you haven't been traumatized. Being traumatized is sort of like breaking a bone. You can adapt to it, right? You get a cast and you set the bone and you get crutches and then you slowly heal and you regain functionality. But always where you broke that bone, there's going to be a little scar in the bone. There's going to be a reminder that you've been traumatized. So we adapt. We don't get over traumas. That being said, adaptation is completely within your reach. No matter what you've been through, I truly believe that you can adapt to trauma so that it doesn't become, so that it goes from being something that defines you and changes the way that you behave in the world to something that is simply a part of your past, like any other memory that you may have. One of the ways that has proven to be really effective in trauma studies is narrating your trauma to an empathetic audience. So being able to explain in coherent terms what happened to you and how it made you feel and how it affected your behavior in the past is something that, and then getting sort of feedback from people who are empathetic to that is something that people have found to be enormously helpful when it comes to adaptation. So I've created this workbook with these things in mind. The first half of the workbook is about education. It just tells you a little bit about what trauma is, what the trauma response is, and how it originates in your brain. So what is happening neurobiologically when you're having some of the symptoms that you may have, be it hypervigilance or nightmares or struggling with traumatic memories, things like that. The second half of the workbook is a series of exercises designed to help you begin on your journey to adaptation. And these exercises are linked to the forum, so you'll be performing them not just on your own, but within a group of people who can read your responses and look at your work and comment on it. And the goal there is to try to solidify the event or the events or the period of time in your life into something that happened in the past so that you can stop having to relive it in the future and in the present. So good luck on your journey. I hope to see you in the forums, and I will be commenting on your work in the worksheets. And please feel free to let me know if you have any questions or feedback about the worksheet, okay? Good luck. Thank you.